Hey folks, welcome to another day, another unboxing, and what I've got here is the Moto One 5G Ace. This is the new affordable 5G phone, $400 from Moto. It's immediately going to be discounted at a lower price than that. So exciting, Snapdragon 750G 5G chip. But before we look at this, they also launched 3 more phones. So I'm going to unbox all 4. I'm going to do the first 3 really quickly and then focus on this guy. The first one to unbox is the Moto G Play. There it is. So this is a pretty entry-level phone. And I'm just going to take it out of the box, show you what's in here, and then more importantly, I'm going to put the specs up here so that you can see them because this is really not that important. So you've got a divider, you've got a manual, you've got warranty card and SIM removal tool, and of course, you've got charger here and a cord, and this is USB Type-C. Then the phone itself, let's have a quick look. So this is a very affordable phone. I'll put the price right here. Here we go. So this is all plastic. You got a dual camera system in the back, 720p display in the front, and a Snapdragon 460 in here, so nothing too crazy. Next up, we have the Moto G Power. This is a little more expensive. I'll put up the price here. So let's unbox this guy. Here's the phone. Again, we got a little divider action here, the manual, warranty card, SIM removal tool, and a charger. And again, we've got a USB Type-C cable, Type A on one end, Type-C on the other end. All right, so this one is a little more interesting. And the power branding means that it does have really long battery life thanks to a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It's got a funky look as well, which is really fun. This has a triple camera system with a 48 megapixel main sensor, which is a pretty big deal. And yeah, let's turn it on real quick. Hole punch in the front. Snapdragon 662 on this one. And the big battery, of course. So that's the news for this, folks. Next up, we have the Moto G Stylus. A little more expensive again. So this is going to be the one with the stylus. It's got 4 cameras on this one, so it's a little more exciting. Let's have a look. There's a divider here, and manuals are inside of this time, so it's a little different. You got SIM removal tool, warranty card, manual, and of course USB A to C cable and a power brick that's a little bigger. So let's have a look at the phone, shall we? This is a little more interesting. As you can see, it has a quad camera system in the back. It adds an ultra wide, 48 megapixel, and I believe a macro on here as well. Also plastic, but definitely looks more premium. And let's turn it on. Fingerprint sensor is mounted on the side here on this one, like some of the other mid-range 1 series Moto phones. And hey, sorry for the cut, but I forgot to show you the stylus, which is obviously really important on a phone like this since it does have one. But notice it's just a capacitive stylus, just a little nub in at the end of this pen. And yeah, it's a little nicer feeling and a little more fancy than the one last year. So that's good. And finally, the one you all came for, the Moto One 5G Ace. Now this is the interesting one because it's got a Snapdragon 750G, which we haven't seen in the US yet. It's been available in phones in Asia. Xiaomi's made a couple of phones now with it. But yeah, so let's open this up. Dun, 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 dun. Nothing in here. Here's the phone. Here's the divider with the documentation, again, just like the G Stylus. So you get the warranty card, the SIM removal tool, and the manual. So let's have a quick look at that. Tells you some of the details right here. And the back. It's the same in Spanish. So now we've got a USB A to C cable here. Again, you can clearly see the C and the A. And a power brick. I'll leave this up so we can figure out what the wattage is, and I'll put it here. And then let's have a look at the phone because that's really the most important thing. So let's pull this out. This is a cool looking phone. Ooh, so it's also all plastic and the fingerprint sensor is in the back this time, which is a little different. Triple camera, it's got a 48 megapixel main, an ultra wide and a macro, of course, like Moto likes to do. And of course the flash is the fourth thing. Yeah, let's turn it on and I'll walk you through some of the features and specs on this. So here we go, it's booting up.
Hello, Moto.
Let's start with the display here. This is a 6.7 inch 1080p display. It's an IPS panel that supports HDR10, so that's nice. That front-facing camera here is a 16 megapixel f/2.2 with 1 micron pixels. And then again, in the back, I'm going to go through these cameras real quick. So the main sensor is a 48 megapixel f/1.7 with 0.8 micron pixel and phase detect autofocus. No OIS, of course. There's an 8 megapixel 118 degree f/2.2 ultra wide with 1.12 micron pixels. And then finally, there is a 2 megapixel f/2.4 macro with autofocus, which is great to have on a macro if you're going to have one. Although 2 megapixels is not going to give you a lot of detail. And then, as I said, under the hood here is a Snapdragon 750G 5G chip. It's got either 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage, or 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, depending on which variant you get. And again, it starts at $400, but that's really the MSRP. So with Moto, what often happens is, depending on which carrier picks this up, you're going to immediately get a discount from the carrier. And then also, they're going to be selling it at a discount very quickly within days or weeks of launch. So I expect this phone to retail for about $300, $350 street. And it is compatible with T-Mobile and AT&T's 5G. Of course, this is sub 6 gigahertz, right? The battery in here is a nice big 5,000 milliamp hour, which is great. Let me walk you through the edges, right? So there is a volume rocker and power lock key with nice little ridges on it on the right-hand side. On the bottom, you got the mono speaker, primary microphone, USB Type-C port, and 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On the left-hand side, you got nothing but the SIM slot, which also supports micro SD XC, and then you have a secondary mic on top. This is all plastic. Really nothing too fancy, but I do like this silver. It looks pretty nice, and it doesn't look like it's going to pick up fingerprints too much. The fingerprint sensor is in the Moto logo in the back, like a lot of Moto phones, but unlike a lot of the Moto Ones, and as I pointed out with the Stylus earlier, on the Stylus, it's actually in the fingerprint sensor, which is normally what you see on a Moto One. So it's very interesting how they're kind of mixing and matching their design language here. Yeah. That's pretty much it, folks. It's a pretty interesting phone. I hope it comes down in price to the $300 mark, because then it would compete nicely with the OnePlus Nord N10 5G that sells for $300 in the US. I'll put a link to my unboxing video up here. So yeah, that's it, folks. The Moto One 5G Ace. This is the only phone of these four that has NFC. And that continues to be an issue with Moto. They don't put NFC in their G-series. But hey, you know, maybe eventually they'll figure it out, especially with the pandemic, that we really need to have NFC on these phones. But hey, so obviously stay tuned. I'll have more content soon. And like, subscribe, tell your friends, click the little notification bell below, comment below, tell me, which of these four phones would you want? Would you pick? Let me know. I'd be curious. For me, this is going to be the one that I would choose, even though it's a little more expensive, because it really gives you the best bang for the buck. And then please listen to the podcast. mobiletechpodcast.com is where it's at. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and Spotify as well. Subscribe, tell your friends, and that's it, folks. I'll see you soon with another video. Cheers, everybody.